special day, Tacit Growth Strategies is moving. So this is the last time you'll see us at this particular location. So LJ, how do you feel about that?
I, you know, I, it's tough. It is a special day. And I think that in it being the reason why it's special is because it's change. It's not forced change, it's change that we want it to have. And I think that at this time with all that's going on, there's just so many changes that are taking place. And if you're not willing to adapt and really kind of go and adopt a different flow and a different way of just doing all the things, especially doing business, then you're not going to last, right? You're not going to be able to maintain, but you also won't be able to grow. So I think that being here today with you, having this monthly virtual discussion that we have not done a good job of keeping monthly, right? It's hard to maintain a monthly consistency. It is. And I think the reason why it's so hard is because, oh, I just found out that it's not public. Sorry. I was looking on YouTube, sorry, and I realized it wasn't public. Oh, let me see how I fix this. I was just making sure that this is public, y'all. Let me double check really fast to see what happened there. But we're talking about all things today. The non-compete, of course, some business growth strategies that we wanted to share, as well as some government contracting opportunities and things of that sort. So we're talking all the things today. We just wanted to make sure that everybody was able to tune in. So I know how sometimes you go live on your page and the live is restricted to just your followers. We don't want that to happen. We want that to be changed so that we can discuss this very important topic with as many people as possible. So just checking the settings now to make sure that we can do that. And let's see here. I just edited the settings. So we should be good to go there. But just double checking one other page. The other part of all of this conversation and discussion is that it's Fiesta here in San Antonio, so there's a ton of not work happening. People are hanging out and enjoying the whole week, and it's a thing. And then Cinco de Mayo is coming up, and that's another deal there where people are not really going to be working. So it's a festive time of the year here, and it's always great. Poses its own challenges, of course.
Yeah,
because we're trying to get things moving, and there's a lot of federal grants that are actually live right now, and we're working to support our clients in that way. But part of the issue is that if they're not making themselves available to do work, then we miss deadlines, and you never want that to happen. So
I know you were talking
it looks
about
like we're officially live and public, so that's good.
Yeah, I know you were talking about the FTC.
Yeah, we're talking about the Federal Trade Commission banning the non-competes, and I thought that was so for me. I can understand the excitement, right? If you're working several different places and you inevitably end up as part of your HR paperwork, your onboarding paperwork, you inevitably end up signing that document that does stipulate, hey, there's a non-compete, it's active within a certain amount of miles in terms of a radius from this particular location. and it applies for 7 years. I've seen some that are, 2, 3 years, but a lot of times it's 7 years and sometimes even longer than that, which is insane. I don't even know if that's legally enforceable, right? But you see those types of non-competes all the time. And I think that the non-compete really was there for the business owner because the business owner wanted to be clear that when we share this information and when you're learning my systems and you're learning my way, there is that respect for the fact that this is, even though you're coming in and you're growing this with me and you're making it your own as well, right? Because you're bringing your own talent, you're bringing your own skill sets, you're bringing your own networks a lot of times, right? The understanding though is that you're doing it to grow and benefit the business that you're working with, not the other way around, right? Or not despite. And I think that that's where a lot of the sort of ambiguity exists in the space right now, because that's always been, just thinking about tacit growth strategies, right? Just thinking about our company, I think over the years, we've had issues because we've had people who've come in, they've, naturally developed their own relationships with some of the clients. And in them developing the relationship, they make assumptions about, well, if it weren't for me doing this work with this client, then this client wouldn't want to work with the company. And it's like, the company has its own reputation, it's got its own brand, it's got its own insurances, it's got its own history, it's got its own portfolio of clientele. How could you come in and say something like that and really actually feel that way, right? Like, they not only say it, they believe it. And it is so hurtful. I mean, it's so hurtful to the company. I mean, I'm not even talking about me as the founder, right? These are, of course, people that when we go through the hiring process, we sit down, we talk to them, we try to make sure that we hire people that really do have as best our interests at heart and in mind as possible. We try to make sure that we do that up front. But the non-compete has kind of been in place just to make sure that there's another level of sort of assurance, right? There's another level of, hey, you're dealing with, this is a professional service company. So you're in the professional services industry. This is not clean cut. This is not a product. This is a knowledge package service. So because it's a knowledge package service, things move differently here for us, right? There's a lot of confidentiality in the work that we do. There's a lot of intellectual property. There's fiduciary responsibility to our clientele. I mean, especially on the real estate side, right? There's things that we do that we communicate that it can never be communicated, period, right? Unless we're under oath, at that point. And even in that circumstance, that's when we have to get our own legal teams involved to see exactly what can be, disclosed and how we can disclose it. I mean, the work that we do is highly, highly confidential. I cannot imagine having people that come here and don't have non-competes and decide, you know what, I'm going to go and work with the next competitor, right? Because people naturally are going to make offers. They're going to say, hey, you do great work. And they're going to say, hey, how much to get you to come over and work and do this for us? And of course, people are going to think, oh, well, grass is greener on the other side. Let me go try and do this work with someone else who's going to pay me much better. Well, yeah, sure, go for it. When you get there, what do you think those people are going to think of you, though? If you did it to this company, why would you not do it again, right? It's just like a cheating spouse, right? You're going to just cheat, like, oh, I'm going to marry this guy, and we had an extramarital affair, and but he loves me. He never loved his wife, and it's like, really? Are we really still doing this in 2024, right? Like, it's the cognitive dissonance there. But there are people who will jump from job to job to job. And that is, really, they're, of course, going from an opportunistic standpoint. I mean, it's cagey behavior, but cagey behavior is often incentivized. It's incentivized, right? I'm going to pay you a higher salary to come in and give me these trade secrets and tell me what it is that they're doing over there that we could be doing or that we could be doing better, right? I mean, that's intel. That intellectual property is highly valuable. I mean, it's the reason why on the government contracting side of the house, you see a lot of entrepreneurs at this point are truly growing their business with acquisitions, right? Mergers and acquisitions is where it's at. I mean, we saw back in 2021, I mean, private equity really got involved with mergers and acquisitions. We were talking about this last night, but this is something that we've been discussing for a while. Growing your business by purchasing other businesses is not it's not a new growth strategy for you. But the reality is that you're purchasing these businesses not only for their products and their competitive advantage and their brand and their reputation, their clientele, et cetera. It's not just for that. It's their intellectual property, right? How are they doing the work? How do they run the business? You know what I mean? Like how have they been able to scale their business? All these things are things that you can monetize and that are monetizable. This is a part of your business valuation. So I understand why we would want to ban non-competes, especially for, I think the example that came up recently with the FTC was there was a person who was working, I think, in security, and he was a security guard. He was a armed security guard, I believe, and he got let go from his position at a bank, and there was a bank about 2 miles up the street that also needed, a security guard, and he decided to go and apply for that position and work there. But I think when he got there, there was a situation where he ended up, the offer that he got to be employed was rescinded because they found out that there was a non-compete that he had signed at the other bank that he was let go from that, pretty much precluded him from being considered for employment within I think it was like a 20-mile radius of the bank or something like that. So again, it's a low paying position, but you don't know what he or she was seeing. You don't know the information that they were able to gather in that capacity. You don't know the conversations that were had with them in confidence. I mean, there's so many things that go into this work in the services field, right? Like on the services side of the house, there's so much that goes into it that we don't talk enough about, that like from a business standpoint, especially for smaller businesses, there's going to have to be some serious conversation there. Like there's going to have to be some serious, we need to address this and really understand what it is that we're saying, because there's got to be protections on both sides. Like it can't just be, a one-sided deal. What are you thinking?
No, I was going to say a lot of times you talk about loyalty, and just listening to you, sometimes you have to be loyal, because yeah, someone can come and offer you something better, but is it really worth it? And then, like you said, there's a lot that goes into any job, confidential information, you're obtaining skills, you're learning, you're growing. And it's like a lot of times you talk about that, the loyalty.
Yeah, because and I'm glad you brought that up, because loyalty to me it's not loyalty to a fault, right? Like it's not blind loyalty. Like
right.
There's a conversation we had last night, and one of the women there's a woman-owned business, a professional service business here in San Antonio that is killing the game. I've supported her from afar for a long time. I've been recently wanting to meet more with her and sit with her and be a part of what she's got going on, because I see what she's doing, I see where she's going, and I believe in her. And so she invited me to come out to a GovCon mixer last night, and I was there, and she had her team members there. She has over 50 employees at this point. I'm blown away by her, and I'm blown away by her progress and her growth in a very short period of time. It's been probably 4 or 5 years in terms of her just ballooning. But the reality is that the reason why she was able to balloon her small business into a full-fledged employer firm is because she had 2 solid people that had her back, that were loyal to her since day one. Her husband, of course, and a woman who, I promise you, they look just alike. They look like they're related, but she's a really good friend of hers. When we talked last night and talking to the friend, I understood and I realized very quickly, again, the ramifications of this non-compete conversation, like head on. Because just think of one of those partners, because at the time she wouldn't have been considered an executive, right? This is just getting started. We're talking $20 an hour. We're just getting started. believing in this dream, right, that we're sharing in. All it takes for that one person to break off and go and try to do the same thing, or try to sell, sell what they've learned with you to another competitor, and that's over. Like, it's a wrap. That growth, the trajectory, it's that fragile. It's that fragile. And all of us, I think, understand this, right? Because if you've ever been in a relationship, it's the same thing. When you're in a really bad relationship, you don't really grow, right? You're insecure, you can't have friends, you can't go out, you can't do certain things. Well, it's the same thing in business. If you have a team of people that you're surrounded by that really don't believe in what you're doing, they see where you are today. They see you eating the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. They see you eating the can of sardines, right? They see the struggle. They don't hear what you're saying, and they don't see the vision. They're just dealing with you where you are right now. Those people are going to kill you, and they're going to kill your business. And we've gone through this. We have gone through this. We speak intimately. This is not me opining, right? Like, this is not just, this is us having a real human to human conversation right now. All it takes is one person, especially in the beginning, right? So when I again, just going back to this, because I want us to move on to the next topic, but I try to explain to people, it's not loyalty to a fault. It's not blind loyalty. It is simply realizing that when we say that the phrase that the grass is not always green on the other side, what we're saying is that you've got to be a good steward of what you have.
Yeah.
And we're saying that you have to recognize that you have a role in ensuring that that grass is green. If the grass ain't green, then maybe you're not watering it. Maybe you're not planting seeds. Maybe you're not tending to the garden. Maybe you are preventing the sun from helping it grow. Maybe your shadow is casting a little too dark and a little too heavy.
Right.
Or maybe you're watering too much. Whatever it is, you're not tending to your own garden. So it's always easier to look across. And when I wasn't in business, I didn't get it. So I don't expect people to get it, right? This is education that you get when you go into business. You're not going to get it. You're not until you have everything on the line. You got not only your finances on the line, you got your relationships on the line. I got family vested in this, right? Family. This is heavy. This is real stuff. It's not until you're on that side of it to where you really understand. When you meet a business like the one I was talking about last night that I went to go to support, you get the tears in your eyes because you understand how hard it is to get to that point, especially in that short period of time. But you also know how fragile it is. And you know all it takes is one person in that alliance to start to get shaky. All it takes. That's all it takes. And all that you've gained, you can lose it just like that.
Oh yeah.
Especially in the context of a non-compete, right? If I don't have a non-compete and you're able to, say, you know what, you and I had a disagreement. I'm about to go pack up my stuff and take this, and I'm going to go start my own, and I'm taking your clients with me. You and I went through this. I'm taking your clients with me. You can't do nothing about it. What you going to do? You going to sue me? How? I mean, suing me is not going to get your clients back. If anything, it's going to galvanize them to go on the other side because you're insecure, right? And you're lashing out because you're showing that you have weakness. You're showing that you don't have a steady ground to, you're not walking on pavement. You're walking on quicksand, right? You're showing that. You're showing your hand. So of course the client doesn't want to deal with the client never wants to work with a loser. Clients always want to work with winners.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're not victorious, they're not going to stay with you. Bottom line, right? So of course, if you want to poach the client wants to go with what's going to work, what's going to get them the most for their buck, but then also what's going to help them get to the places that they're trying to go ultimately. Everyone's trying to survive and thrive. All of us are. So you cannot be upset when the client does decide, you know what, maybe I should go ahead and try something different. Why not? Right? This person took care of me at this company. Why would I not trust them to take care of me on their own, with their own company? Exactly. Or with another company. And that happens more times than it doesn't, right? totally natural human behavior. People tend to do business with people that they like and that they have relationships with,
Mhm.
especially here in Texas. That is how we roll in Texas. It's all about relationships and who I like, which is why a lot of opportunity gets concentrated because
Mhm.
a lot of folks don't even know how to get in. They don't even know how to get started because they're not a part of that circle. They're not part of the people who, go to a certain type of church, or, who go to these types of events, or who are part of these types of associations,
Yeah.
or these country clubs or whatever. They're not a part of that circle. So they're not going to naturally be, hey, I got this contract that just is coming down. Would you like to partner on it, or would you like to be a prime on it? Or would you like to, form a JV? Let's form a joint venture and go after this together. They're not even privy to those opportunities. It's just like investing. Me and you talk about this all the time. Even when investment opportunities, we got commercial real estate that we can, put people in front of for investment opportunities, for purchasing, for leasing, for selling, whatever, right? How many people actually feel like they can do any of those things? Not many. Most of the people that we work with that do feel that way are accredited investors. They are accredited investors as defined by the IRS.
Yep.
So these are people of wealth. They have it. But there are people who are not accredited investors that can also be at the table, that should also be at the table, but they don't even know how to get started. But they also don't know that people like you and I exist to be able to help them get on ramped.
Yeah.
So it's
Here's a,
all very intentional.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Here's a topic I know you want to speak on before we go. We were talking about DEI. And so if a lot of people are not familiar with DEI, it's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so that is a big conversation that has been talked about. Um, LJ, you speak and you work a lot on that particular subject. So can you speak
Yeah,
a little bit about DEI? Why it's so
for sure.
important?
For sure. And you're bringing this up right on time, right? Like, I think when you talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and this includes access, right? There's several acronyms that are meaningful. Diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, justice, belonging. There's several. There's JEDI, DIJB. There's all sorts of, sort of variations and iteration of this work, because it is evolving and it's not new. But I think that the crux and the bottom line of it is what we were talking about just yesterday, actually, but then also what we've been dealing with the Fair Contracting Coalition. Um, you see you see people espouse ideas and espouse aspirations that they're not living up to. We talk about equity all the time. We talk about inclusive prosperity, but very few people are actually doing the work of making sure that those people that we're talking about including are actually at the table and getting contracts and getting deals. We're not just talking about checks. And this is what I try to explain to people. It's not just about the check. It's about the contract. I need multi-year investment. We need multi-year investment. We need deals. I need handshakes. I need deals to be made for people who are historically underrepresented, underserved. We are rendered invisible in so many ways and in so many spaces, and we continue to be the marketplace discrimination. When I talk to people about DEI and things of that sort, a lot of people don't care to talk about it because they think the DEI is lazy. Um, they think it's a way to include people that shouldn't, that haven't worked to be there, right? That have not made it. They don't deserve to be at the table. That's what a lot of people believe when they hear DEI. They think this is a person who's given a handout, right? In actuality, that's never been the case. It was always the people who had the qualifications, who had the education, who had more than what they needed, right? They had more than what was advertised. They had more than the education that was needed. They had all the things, but they still were not being considered because for some reason, because it was them that accomplished it, it wasn't enough. And we see this all the time. I try to talk to people about this all the time. I say, just think about it very simply. When you serve on juries, you know that what I'm saying is not a lie. There's certain people that get called to serve on juries and others that do not, because we assume that what they say, especially women who look like me, is because of our lived experience and not because of what's real or what's facts. There is an assumption that because I have this lived experience in this body, that my opinion and the way that I see the world is not how everyone else sees it. That is just the assumption. And I try to tell people, look at juries. Look at the jury makeup. What do you see when you see juries? The composition is not whimsical, folks. This is very intentional. These people are selected for a reason.
Right.
You
We know
know,
it's not minority based. We know that.
hello. Most of the
We
time
know
it's
that.
not, because
It's not.
these are people who have lived expertise.
Mhm.
They don't know how to solve their own problems. They're not there to tell us how to solve problems. They're there to ask us to give them something that they don't deserve. That's how they treat us. That's how they see. That's how so many people see us.
And that's how you see, like you're talking about businesses. That's how you see a lot of businesses. Like you don't really see a lot of, minorities. You know what I mean? In successful businesses, it's like it's always something. Oh, I don't have enough fun. Oh, I'm not getting contracts. I'm not
And
doing
they
this.
can't
I'm
get
not.
the funding.
You can't.
The marketplace
But
discrimination is real. I mean, we saw this within the city that we operate here in San Antonio. We saw that we had some marketplace discrimination, some disparities that still exist just for people who look like me, just for people who look like me and you, that are just not being provided opportunity to do business with our own city. So of course you see the discrimination across the board, but again, I tell people that it's deeper than that. It's inherent in us. Commissioner Calvert said this yesterday at the Fair Contracting Coalition meeting. He said we have a disease in our city. We have a sickness, and it's something that we're dealing with here. And I'm sure a lot of people that are watching this from other places feel the same way where they live. Right? We never do a good job of taking care of our own. We always amplify and elevate people from other places. But when you look at what talent and what opportunity you have with the people that are just sitting right here in front of you, sitting next to you, you don't see the value in them because you think you know them, but you don't know them. You don't know what they're capable of. But we make the assumptions, we get so comfortable. I can't tell you how many times people come and they sit next to me, and they'll say things like, "Oh, I love gospel music. We should have more gospel music on Sundays. When we do karaoke, we need to totally have a gospel hour." And you look at them and you're like, "Why would make you say that to me? Like, to me specifically, what about me made you feel like I like gospel music, or that I even knew what gospel music was?" Right? But there's an assumption
there's an
because of,
assumption.
again, thank you, the body that you're in.
Yeah.
There it is. You laying it on me. I don't even know
So
what you're putting on me. You putting all this stuff on me, and I don't
and
even know what you're putting on. I'm trying to take it off. I'm trying to remove it and reintroduce myself so that you know who I am. Right? Like, hold on. Before you think you know who I am. Let me tell you who I am. Let me tell you how to pronounce my name correctly. We can't even get the names together.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't even get people to respect your name. And that's not something that I created necessarily. That was something I was given.
Forgiven. Mhm.
And even what I was given, I can't own. I can't just have it and have people respect it
Right.
and address me the way I'm supposed to be addressed.
Yeah.
I mean, we have
Uh,
those types of issues, but
well,
we get over it.
I know. Well,
We
before we
glance
leave
over it.
out, before we leave out, Miss Lawson,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
and because people can see that you're very passionate about a lot of things, and
It's a lived experience.
it's a lived experience. But well, so what other things are could we say that we're working on right now, tacit growth strategies?
Well, we have to bring up the book signing event that we got coming up in May, and I'll make sure I put that information in the chat as soon
Okay.
as we wrap this up. I'll put that out in the chat. So, Women Unlimited San Antonio is actually hosting. Finally, the book signing is happening. It's taken so many years to make this happen. And I brought it up to Brenda Ons, and Brenda in Brenda fashion, true Brenda fashion, said, "Let's do this." And so I thank God for her. Thank God for Women Unlimited San Antonio. Her entire team there is fantastic. And they're incredible women. So all of them small business owners themselves. So we'll have our book signing event in May. We've got a few other events coming up throughout the summer and the fall. We'll also make sure that everybody is made abreast of that. If there's anyone who hasn't, subscribed to our newsletter, you can do so by going on to LinkedIn. We have a monthly newsletter that we publish there. We haven't had a one recently in the last couple of months. I think we haven't published one. That's because it's just been so busy. But if you go there and subscribe, whenever when our events that are coming up, that will be published. So whenever that is published, you will get the notification for that. So if you haven't subscribed on LinkedIn, make sure that you go on our LinkedIn company page. You'll see where you can like and follow the company page. So you'll also get notifications there. But then also you'll see that we have the monthly newsletter available to you there, and you'll be able to click to sign up to read and get email notifications whenever something comes up. So I would say that those are the biggest things. We have a ton of progress happening this year. Very grateful to all of our clients. We're going to probably end up having a client appreciation night at the San Antonio Gunslingers game. So for our clients and others and other supporters, we'll go ahead and make sure that we announce that opportunity for you guys to join us at a Gunslingers indoor football league game coming up here. Probably in, I think, June is when we're gonna have our suite. So yeah, it's going to be fun. We got, and we're going to do more things like that, right? Make sure that we get more sports engagement and really kind of show up for the community in different ways and bring us together a lot more in different formats. So if anybody's got ideas, of ways that we can all kind of come together more and interact and engage more, also make sure that you put that in the chat, send us an email, give us a call, and, we'll be looking out for that.
Alrighty.
Yes,
Well, we
ma'am.
had a very interesting chat today, and there is more to come. But we just wanted to jump on
Yes, sir.
and kind of let you guys know what's going on with tacit growth strategies right now. We're so excited
You'll
today.
see. We're so excited. You'll see me in another location very soon. That will be announced when we do our next monthly virtual meeting. So this is farewell from this location. We will be, after 3 years, we're going to be moving closer to downtown and moving back downtown, because actually we were downtown for the first 2 years. So we're going to go right back downtown, just on a different side of town. I'm trying to make sure that we have locations on all sides of town. So we're going to go back downtown and a different location, and we'll be streaming live from that location probably next month or the month after. So stay tuned and make sure you stay in touch. And we appreciate you for your support of Tacit Growth Strategies and our team.
Thank
Thank you.
you.